My name is Harry, and I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here.
Today is July 25th, 2024. It is 4:33 a.m. I was knocked out on the couch. I was literally tired yesterday. I did some stuff after I finished doing important things and then took a shower and I just lay on the couch. I was gone. So I'm up now. Okay, thank God. I started my list since the moment I finished whatever I was working on yesterday. So I started my list. So I have about 13 tweets. There's a possibility I might turn these 13 tweets into 2 videos. There's the second part of ITV interview. And I just saw one. I put the star next to it here. That's Omid. I literally just saw it and added to the list. But there's a possibility I might rearrange it. I might put it second after I do the first 2 tweets. So let's see how I feel once I start. Okay, so this is the background. 4,386 subscribers, new subscribers, welcome. Estimate revenue stuck there, it hasn't moved. $134.29. Let's look at analytics. Whenever I'm doing this part here, anybody who's new, just skip it. Okay, it's just for record purposes because I just can't believe how my channel is not making that much money. Okay, just skip it. Okay, views in the last 48 hours, 5,558 views. That's pretty impressive because I very rarely get that far. I don't know if it's some of the short videos that I created. Okay, so let's go on Twitter. So this is the Omid's tweet, but I want to review this. I've already know what the first tweet is about, and I think I'm gonna read this passage. I think that's from Omid's book. He probably put it there to make reference to what Harry's talking about. But let's start with the very first tweet. And like I said, this might be rearranged. I'll just see how I feel. On my last video yesterday, there were several threads. This is a thread as well. Okay, so I'm glad I want to stick to that first. Okay, on yesterday's video, there was a thread also from ITV, and it was Hugh Grant and some other people that they highlight on their documentary. So now this is Harry and whoever else they have here look like, and him, I don't know who is. All right, let's get started. Prince Harry tells Becca Berry the High Court ruling that he was hacked by Mirror Group newspaper was a monumental victory. In an interview for ITV1 documentary Tabloids on Trial, Prince Harry speaks for the first time about the result. There's the here, we could read more, but I'm just gonna focus on whatever they share. Okay, it's if it's on YouTube, I'm not even go deeper into it, just what's on Twitter I want to share with you. All right, 32 seconds. Let's listen. Screenshots, okay?
When you got the judge's ruling that you had been hacked, what was your reaction?
To go in there and come out and have the judge rule in our favour was obviously huge. But for him to go as far as he did with regard to, this wasn't just the individual people, this went right up to the top. This was lawyers, this was high executives. And to be able to achieve that in a trial, and that's a monumental victory.
When you got the judge's ruling.
Okay, it's playing again. The other thing I will say as well, whenever the Rangers are talking about his lying, his this, and I usually refer to them and say, go look at court documents, because Harry does not speak with the media and every issues that he's going through. Okay? So, until after the fact. He proved himself in court and then he elaborate like he's doing right now. Besides the Oprah interview, many of them keep on bringing the Oprah interview. Stop telling his dirty laundry about his family, why you spoke against your family. And I was like, well, if the royal family had said something when Harry and Meghan were working royals and they defended them, the Oprah interview would never have happened because the royal family would have put a stop to it. But they had to tell their side of the story. And it was whatever that was said while they were working royals, the nonsense that they were putting out, okay, they meaning the tabloid were putting out against his wife. So now he had to respond to it, to tell the truth, the other side of the story. Instead they spinning it into a completely lie. It's because they knew that the royal family will hold them back from talking against them. But Harry removed himself from the toxicity and then respond. Because his family were gonna do anything. Okay, so let's continue. When you vindicate it, it proves you weren't being paranoid. Prince Harry says he experienced the same paranoia as his mother, Princess Diana. Becca Berry exclusive interview feature and Tabloid on trial on ITV1 at 9 p.m. on Thursday. Alright, so let's listen to it again. I mean, that's a different part. This one is 1 minute and 1 second.
Other victims of hacking that I've spoken to have described the paranoia that it creates. Do you identify with that?
I think paranoia it's a very interesting word because, yes, then it could be paranoia. But then when you're vindicated, it proves that you weren't being paranoid. Same with my mother. There is evidence to suggest that she was...
I think that's the same part that Omid is making reference to. Maybe after this one, okay, I'll put Omid tweet. It's making reference to that. Okay, so while I'm listening to this, I'm gonna rearrange it. So Omid's one is gonna be next after I finish this.
Being hacked in the mid-90s, probably one of the first people to be hacked. And yet, still today, the press, the tabloid press, very much enjoy painting her as being paranoid.
And that's something William have said, using the same talking point like the tabloid, calling his own mother paranoid. And I've always making reference to that. William is older than Harry. He should have understand what was going on. He saw it, he witnessed it, but yet he go along with the talking point of the people instead of defending his mother. All right, but let's continue.
But she wasn't paranoid.
There it is.
She was absolutely right of what was happening to her. And she's not around today to find out the truth.
Exactly. And the other thing I've said as well, when you look at the way the institution operates, everyone around them speak the same talking point. If Charles says jump, they all say how high. They carry out Charles' talking point, and then to make it seems like whatever it is that she's experiencing, it's not what it is.
Do you really believe that a campaign was being waged against you?
Yes, I did, absolutely. Yeah.
Why?
I was a separated wife to the Prince of Wales. I was a problem, full stop. Never happened before. What do we do with her?
Can't we pack her off to somewhere quietly rather than campaign against her?
She won't go quietly. That's the problem. I'll fight till the end.
Her reality is not what is happening, when in fact she is true to herself. She understands what's going on. She sees reality, but everyone around her is telling her what you're seeing is not what it is. We've seen it with the media. It's like, oh, don't trust your eyes, trust them, listen to them, listen to what they're telling you. What they're telling you is right. What you see with your own two eyes is not what it is. What you heard with your own two ears, with whatever the subject, the matter is, it's not what it is. But listen to us. We're telling you the truth. This is exactly what was happening. Princess Diana was like, no, I trust my eyes. And they can't fool her. And this is why she's under the ground. Look at Harry, the chase that happened in New York. Okay? Harry sees reality. And they refuse for him to see reality. They want him to see their talking point, their nonsense. Okay, so that's that. Let's continue. It's almost done.
Other motivate you in this legal fight?
Yeah. there's all sorts of things that motivate me.
While it's never been proven in court that Princess Diana was hacked, the past remains raw.
Okay, so that's her, how do you call this? Her disclaimer. Okay, and Harry said that while she wasn't alive to see that she wasn't paranoid, but Harry have vindicated she wasn't paranoid. This is why, one of many reasons why Harry's doing what he's doing. Okay, the next one. Prince Harry tells Becca Berry his legal fight with the tabloid is a central piece and the breakdown of his relationship with his family. ITV1 documentary Tabloid on Trial, the Duke of Sussex says, in a public will, these are the things that we should be doing for the public, for the greater good. All right, so let's listen.
To what extent do you think that your determination to fight the tabloids destroyed the relationship with your family?
I think there's, that's certainly a central piece to it. But you know, that's a hard question to answer, because anything I say about my family results in a torrent of abuse from the press. I've made it very clear that this is something that needs to be done. It would be nice if we did it as a family. I believe that, again, from a service standpoint, and when you're in a public role, that these are the things that we should be doing.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Especially the position of the royal family. This is something they should take head on for the sake of the people, because the tabloid is doing it to the people as well. But instead, they align themselves with them. I don't know what's going on in the UK, why the people don't see, it's like the enemy is the head of the state. I don't know. But it's not for me to say. It's not my tax dollars that's being taken. Like what I'm doing, because of Meghan, I'm able to, be able to talk about the royal family, because she married into the institution and they went after her. And this is what caught my attention. When you're looking at what's happening in politics in the US, I used to tell you, they're all connected. From the beginning on PYTE, where people were saying, no, I'm not about politics, I'm not about this, I'm here for Meghan only. I was like, they're all connected. Once I start looking deep into the things that was happening, they all were connected. And I share with you what I saw. And many times, over and over again, whatever I've said have come true. It's not like I have a crystal ball. They're playing it right in front of us. They try to lie about it, but when you look deep in their action, their behavior, the pattern of everything, what they're saying versus what is happening, when you look into them, they're playing it right in front of you. And this is why they force feeding you not to believe your eyes, not to believe reality. But this is something that the royal family should take heads on, because the tabloid have attacked them. But if you've been watching some of my videos, you know what I believe. Again, it's pure speculation how the royal family relationship with the tabloid sort of got started. From the moment the Queen father passed, they aligned themselves, they eased themselves into the institution, and then start training Charles to be the kind of a person that he is. They put a fear in him for him to trust the papers. That way they could control whatever it is that's going on. If you hear some of my old videos, I've talked about that. Okay, but let's continue listening to this.
The greater good, but I'm doing this. I'm doing this for my reasons.
What do you think of their decision not to fight in the way that you have?
I think everything that's played out has shown people what the truth of the matter is.
Exactly.
For me, the mission continues, but it has yes, it's caused, as you say, part of a rift.
Okay, so that's that. Okay, in response to the documentary, Mirror Group newspaper said, quote, "We'll welcome the judgment in December 2023 that gave the business the necessary clarity to move forward from events that took place many years ago." And the worst thing with these newspapers people is the same group of people. If you look from Princess Diana's time, the same people are still alive. But the thing is that they continue because there is no punishment for these people. So they continue and they move to the next victim and the next and the next. Nobody put a stop to it. And then they have the money to pay people out to shut their mouth. Okay? When historical wrongdoing took place, we apologize unreservedly. Alright? But you continue. That's the thing. Let me pause. Okay? When historical wrongdoing took place, we apologize unreservedly, have taken full responsibility, and pay compensation. And then you continue. That's the problem. You know you're doing it, but the thing with the papers is that before they start paying out, they make the people search for what they know they've done. They meaning the papers. The victims have to search and find how the newspaper, have done them wrong. And then once they discover it, they know they're gonna prove them, the victims is gonna prove their truth, and then they pay them. And then what they do, you think they will stop? Nope, they go to the next victim. So how is that justice? Something needs to be done. And then we really have to pray for Harry to continue, because this is why they're going after him non-stop. Because Harry, thank God, with his wit, determination, and hard working, to be able to afford some of the things that he's doing, many other people refuse to continue because it's gonna cost them, and they have their kids, their little family to leave something for. Even Harry, he does too, but they will not leave him alone. Okay, so let's continue. We weren't celebrities, we were just normal people. It does take a toll on you. 7 of 7. Hero Paul Dad talks to Becca Berry about being a target of phone hacking and its impact. Okay, 28 seconds.
We weren't celebrities. This wasn't salacious gossip. We were just normal people who got involved in a horrific incident. When something like that happens, it makes you feel very vulnerable because you've lost control of the story, of what you want to tell and what you don't want to tell. And that's very, very hard. It does take its toll on you.
Wow. Okay. Paul, let's pause. Okay, I think some of these were on my last video, but let's read it for the sake of this video. Here, Paul Dad settled his voicemail interception case against the publishers of the News of the World in 2011. They expressed regret for the distress caused. Okay, 2011. They regret the problem that they've done to him. But yet, 2024, they continue. Well, I don't know if they continue until now, 2024. But afterward, they continue. Okay, look at all the other things that have happened since then. Look at this one that I highlighted. Okay, I highlighted. Unreservedly, we apologize unreservedly, have taken full responsibility, and pay compensation. 2011. Where is it? They did the same thing. Okay? They feel sorry for what they did, and then they continue again. So when are they gonna stop? Okay, Paul Dad said, okay, that was this one. They expressed regret for the distress caused. Okay? Tabloid on Trial airs on ITV and ITVX at 9 p.m. on Thursday, July 25th, which is today. Okay, this is 2 minutes and 3 seconds.
It is a scandal. One that's rumbled on for more.
There's a music in the background. If you hear, I don't know, I'm probably gonna have to put my own music to sort of draw down the music that come with this video. But let's listen.
More than 20 years and counting. Damaging lives.
I had an inescapable abuser.
Sowing distrust.
I become a recluse.
And shaking an industry to its core. Apologies by some, and over £1 billion spent by two of Britain's biggest newspaper groups on legal fees and on payouts to thousands of victims whose lives have been invaded by phone hacking and unlawful information gathering. And yet for many, the pain endures. Not least for a prince who continues to fight.
This is a David versus Goliath situation. The Davids are the claimants, and the Goliath is this vast media enterprise.
And it's not just the rich and famous.
This wasn't salacious gossip. We were just normal people who got involved in a horrific incident.
Recent claims go even further. Burglary.
The whole door had been taken off its hinges.
Eavesdropping on people's live phone calls and blagging their private information. As one courtroom battle concludes, other Fleet Street giants face trial. Now accusations of cover-ups against some newspapers
It is clear to me that we were not told the full truth.
have reignited this controversy,
The Yard covered it up.
giving some new drive in their fight for the truth.
I don't think there's anybody else in the world that is better suited to be able to see this through than myself. I'm trying to get justice for everybody.
Tabloids on Trial airs Thursday the 25th of July at 9 p.m. on ITV1 and available on Catch Up on ITVX.
Okay, so that's that if you're in the UK. Let's see here. Historical. Why didn't you say? Hang on. I was an adult when it happened. Who are you calling historical? No. Okay, catch the latest. That's an ad. Best way to protect privacy is not to seek fame and notoriety. What? But these people don't care who you are. They don't care. It's like an espionage kind of thing, and then they gathering information about anybody, and then I don't know. It seems like a sort of a war against citizen. Once they reach a certain point of whatever it is that they're doing around the world, and then once it reaches you, now they have something against you for you to be afraid not to, dare talk to them or prevent them from continue doing what it is. I don't know. Okay? So you want people to just stay on a corner and just let other people run free, live their lives, do as they please without any interference or anything like that. Best way to protect privacy is not to seek fame and notoriety. The people, the papers don't care. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now the Omid one I'm gonna go over. There's other tweets that retweeted different parts of these. I forgot to like them. I'll come back to these and like all of them so I have reference to them. So let's go over the Omid one. Like I said, there's other tweets that I have here that make reference to the thing here. Okay, let's pause that. Okay, so this is Omid who retweet different section of this. When Prince William publicly responded to a BBC investigation that found journalist Martin Bashir had used deceitful behavior to secure Princess Diana's Panorama interview, his statement referred to her as paranoid, a very different take to that of Prince Harry. So let's see here. I guess this is an excerpt from his book. Let's see here. Already at odds with each other, Prince William's and Prince Harry's official responses were as far apart and torn as their location in the world. The Duke of Sussex, in statement issues from California, reminded the public that his mother was, quote, an incredible woman who dedicated her life to service, and someone who was also resilient, brave, and unquestionably honest, end quote. Harry went on to share his concern that the quote, ripple effect of a culture of exploitation and unethical practices that ultimately took her life still thrives and devastates. Our mother lost her life because of this, and nothing has changed. This is what I'm saying. The paper just pay out, and then they continue exactly where they left off. He wrote, let's remember who she was, what she stood for. To Harry, a friend of his later told me the purpose of the Duke's brief and targeted response was to acknowledge the outcome but also protect his mother's legacy and her words. This wasn't about wanting to silence her. He knew that what she said in that interview was how she felt at the time. That's what I think too. And then the other brother tried to remove it as if it never happened. The means used to convince her to do it were ugly and unethical, but if it wasn't Bashir, it would have been someone else. Look at this. It was this other royal rat who Princess Diana was in communication with and was giving him information to write a book about Princess Diana. There was a documentary I saw how they were getting information out of the palace to the person who wrote the book. It was like a top secret kind of thing. His mother just wanted to be heard, and a white shirt, tie, sweater, and jacket, William personally opted to read his statement in front of a camera at Kensington Palace. He did not prevaricate, as he said, quote, "It is my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said." I've always put that quote of William saying that.
I would like to thank Lord Dyson and his team for the report. It is welcome that the BBC accepts Lord Dyson's findings in full, which are extremely concerning. That BBC employees lied and used fake documents to obtain the interview with my mother.
He also claimed that the BBC made lurid and false claims on the royal family, which played on her fear and fueled paranoia.
Made lurid and false claims about the royal family, which played on her fears and fueled paranoia.
The BBC failure contributes significantly to her, what my mother said. I played this part many times on some of my videos. Fear, paranoia, and isolation that I remember from those final years with her. With conviction and force and an almost officious tone, he added that the interview established a false narrative and the program should never be aired again.
Displayed woeful incompetence when investigating complaints and concerns about the program, and were evasive in their reporting to the media and covered up what they knew from their internal investigation. It is my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said. The interview was a major contribution to making my parents' relationship worse and has since hurt countless others. It brings indescribable sadness to know that the BBC's failures contributed significantly to her fear, paranoia, and isolation that I remember from those final years with her. But what saddens me most is that if the BBC had properly investigated the complaints and concerns first raised in 1995, my mother would have known that she had been deceived. She was failed not just by a rogue reporter, but by leaders at the BBC who looked the other way rather than asking the tough questions. It is my firm view that this panorama programme holds no legitimacy and should never be aired again.
The differences in the brothers' statement are stark. Both express understandably outrage over Bashir's duplicity and the BBC's moral and professional failure, but while Harry stopped to acknowledge and honor Diana's strength despite the whole fiasco, William reinforced the counter-narrative that his mother was paranoid at the time. I think they forced him to say it. The father and the horse next to him pushed him to say it, and then he went along with it. Because now, while they are king and queen right now, nobody's talking to them. They feel like what William have said put them at ease. Okay, as if Princess Diana was wrong. And I was like, I remember when I first listened to William saying it, I was like, what? What did I just hear? And the best thing about when I listened to that, that statement that William put out, I was listening for the first time and I was recording. You got my full reaction from that video. While there is no doubt that William's rebuke came from a place of love, sources explain he was also keen to toe the company line without any concessions to what his mother said during the interview itself. To write his statement, William turned to a number of aides within the royal household, including former private secretary Simon Case. There's that. Okay, very interesting. I didn't know that. Who had left a month earlier for his new role as cabinet secretary for then Prime Minister Boris Johnson. He embraced the institution's version that because Diana was duped, the interview was null. Wow. And void as a result. Even what she said was completely in line with what she had previously expressed in Morton's book. This is the book that I was telling you about, where there was a documentary that spoke about how information between Princess Diana and Morton's were transferred. It's like an espionage kind of thing. Okay? And also, this is a way of them watching each other's back. Okay? Charles did not want Princess Diana's story to be up front and center when he becomes king. And remember, my assumption of how they trained Charles to be the kind of man that he is, so the paper had given him the confidence that they will protect him. So this is another way of going on with the protection, the talking point that they want people to believe, even though they don't give a shit about it. But the groups, okay, who will protect Charles will go along with whatever Charles wanted to happen. So they go along with it. And vice versa. When something is happening with the politician, okay, there's Charles come back to protect them. Okay, we've seen a lot of other things when priests and child molestation that happened in the UK, and Charles come to their rescue. So it's the same thing. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So Charles did not want this type of information to be out there, and they have already trained William to be in that type of circle. Is the same protection. So he went along with that, and it's very sad to see he didn't understand his position, because now, because of what he did with that statement he put out to say his mother is paranoid and that thing should be void, as if Princess Diana doesn't have a mind of her own, as if they because of what happened, therefore this is what Diana had to say, when in fact Princess Diana have a mind of her own. They think people stupid. So they put that out there and they feel good about themselves, and then they move on. You see, when Charles became king, it was step by step. They knew the queen was about to go. Okay, so they start preparing, and then they push William to go put this statement out. And the worst thing with William, whatever happened between his father and mother had nothing to do with them, with him, but he went along and he inserted himself by doing that. Okay, and then he was older and he knew the pain and kind of thing that Princess Diana was going through, and then he went along with that. So it's like, I'll scratch your back, you scratch, I'll scratch yours, you scratch mine. I'll protect you, you protect me. So they went along with that narrative, and they think people stupid. That's the thing here. They just think people stupid. And I remember when I first come across that video, when I was commenting on it, and I was like, Princess Diana's voice remains supreme. No matter what anybody said, she said it. Nobody put a gun on her head. She went and talked about it, her problem, in many different forms. There's that Martin's book, and then there's that voice coach. Princess Diana was talking. So her narrative remains supreme, no matter what these idiots try to do to avoid, to make it seem like Princess Diana was dumb. Alright, so that's that. By disparaging Bashir's trick, and by extension the entire interview, William ended up discrediting a large part of his mother's own story. To make his point, he did not remind the public that his mother was candid and truthful despite Bashir's dirty work, but instead maintained the royal version that she was emotionally fragile and thus easily manipulated, and therefore her claims are not to be trusted. Can you imagine this? That's exactly what I felt from that when William talked about that. If you listen to that video, I don't remember what maybe I have the picture of William talking about it on the thumbnails, but I was like, what? But no matter what William said, Princess Diana's word remained supreme. I remember saying that. Okay, so that's that. Okay, I know I shared that already, but since he put it there, let's see where what Omid have choose. When you vindicated, it proves you weren't being paranoid. Prince Harry tells me he experienced the same paranoia as his mother, Princess Diana. Okay, 1 minute and 1 second.
Other victims of hacking that I've spoken to have described the paranoia that it creates. Do you identify with that?
I think paranoia it's a very interesting word, because yes, then it could be paranoia, but then when you're vindicated, it proves that you weren't being paranoid. Same with my mother. There is evidence to suggest that she was being hacked in the mid-90s, probably one of the first people to be hacked, and yet still today the press, the tabloid press, very much enjoy painting her as being paranoid. But she wasn't paranoid. She was absolutely right of what was happening to her, and she's not around today to find out the truth.
Does your mother motivate you in this legal fight?
Yeah, there's all sorts of things that motivate me.
While it's never been proven in court that Princess Diana was hacked, the past remains raw.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. Harry lives uncorrupted. He is his mother's son. His so-called brother, well, he definitely is his father's son. Yeah, and this is why he took the hush money and then the eyes of the cat. He didn't bother make it public, and he kept his mouth shut. If Harry then go to court to prove his side of the story, we will never know William took money from the tabloid. Okay, because it's disgrace. That's an ad. That was Willie's royal spin. There's the laugh here. He didn't say she was paranoid. He said that the BBC action meant she felt paranoid to different things. You could change whatever you want. Whatever Omid had voted, that's exactly how I felt when I first heard it. We all know Wills loved the press and privilege more than his family. Alright, let's pause this. The way William cuddled up to Camilla, who did so much international harm to Diana for decades, as well as other members of the family, speaks volume about where's William loyalties lay. It said really. Okay, the invisible contract, I think that says it all. Clearly from the recording that were released to the public, family members were being taped. The whole family was likely paranoid, and rightfully so. Okay, William has no honor. Diana is disgusted by him, I'm sure. Thank you, Omid. What kind of a son called his late mother paranoid? The kind that has sold his soul to the tabloid media devil. Shame on William. William is an egotistical wimp flaunting his princely rod, but when it comes to giving real service to the people of the UK, CMW, he's just a bag of rent, a very useless future king. He was a young boy then, not knowing what's happening to his mom, and then read the tabloid. Now, as an adult, he understood now what was done to her through the tabloid press, by the media, by his family. She was alone against them, media, the royal family. One is brave and handsome, got his mother's gene. The other bro is weak and ugly inside and out, like forever mistress who raised him. Let's go, King Harry. Get them. Alright, in this book you criticize Simon Case for intentionally driving a wedge between the brothers, yet you continually do this yourself, no doubt with the Sussex stamp of approval. What the hell? It's losing battle, especially with the UK public. What? But it has proven in court that William hired Simon Case to help his brother get the hell out of working royal family, but the spin that they put out of this is that Harry left, and his what's the word that they use, that he betrayed the royal family, he left and all of that. But when it was William who hired Simon Case to put it in a document to get him out, and Harry had to go to court and tell the judge, like, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, look, this is what's happening, or you know, I want to keep on working. This is my family. I still want to work, but they decided to kick me out and take security away from me. Can you please review this? And I don't know. It was to court we get to see what was really happening in the background. But let me read what some of the people say here. Okay, William is best friend with the tabloid. He threw his mother and brother under the bus, but you are saying that Harry exposing this is the problem. Make it make sense. William can be jealous and hateful, but that's okay. Interesting. So you are saying everything Scobie say is with the Sussex approval, then everything the rest of the royal reporters say about the Sussexes must be said with royal approval, which shows the royals have approved all the attack on the Sussexes. That's an ad, and that's that. So let's go to the next one. Okay, I'm already 34 minutes, so I might have part 2 in this video because I'm like just started. Okay, so this is another one. The squad put, Prince Harry tells me his legal fight with tabloid was a central piece and the breakdown of his relationship with his family. Alright, so let's listen to that again to see which part she picked. There's the words here.
To what extent do you think that your determination to fight the tabloids destroyed the relationship with your family?
I think there's that's certainly a central piece to it. But you know, that's a hard question to answer, because anything I say about my family results in a torrent of abuse from the press. I've made it very clear that this is something that needs to be done. It would be nice if we did it as a family. I believe that, again, from a service standpoint, and when you're in a public role, that these are the things that you should be doing.
Exactly.
For the greater good. But I'm doing this I'm doing this for my reasons.
What do you think of their decision not to fight in the way that you have?
I think everything that's played out has shown people what the truth of the matter is. For me, the mission continues, but it's caused, as you say, part of a rift.
Yeah. Oh, there's only one response. If I knew, I would not even mention
To what extent do you think
Put
they
that
caused
here. There's the thumbs up, 100%. All right, let's go to the next one. Now, this is Variety who's making reference to this. And that's one thing I have to say. That's going on while these interviews are going on, is that the royal family have just got an increase from the public purse, from the taxpayers. And I don't have any tweets about that, so I'm aware it's happening. I will create another video sometime this week about that. Maybe over the weekend, I'll gather some tweets to create a video about that. So by now, you should know, if you follow other Sussex channels, they are talking about it. Okay, next tweet. When asked whether the hacking made Harry paranoid, he replied, quote, "I think paranoia is a very interesting word because yes, then it could be paranoia, but then when you're vindicated, it proves that you weren't being paranoid. You know, same with my mother." All right, so this is Variety's making reference to it. So I just listened to the whole thread. I'm not even gonna read Variety's article. Okay, there's that. Good son, Team Diana. She tagged somebody. That's her ad, and that's it. So let's go to the next tweet. Okay, next one. This is again making reference to that, to the interview, and people are bringing their receipt. Way before Prince Harry ever uttered a word about his parents' turmoil relationship, it was well documented that the then Prince Charles was not only undermining Princess Diana, but him and his spin doctors was gaslighting the hell out of her in public. 28 seconds. Let's listen to that.
Impervious to this kind of evidence, Charles's office continued to undermine Diana's credibility.
Diana. Meanwhile, the spin doctors at the palace were saying that Charles was trying to help Diana through this very difficult period of time that she was having, and that all this fantasy that she was having about Camilla being Charles's mistress was subject with the problem of her illness and her bulimia. So they were all bad-mouthing her like mad.
Can you imagine this? He has all those people around him to discredit Diana's truth. All right, so there's that. When you're vindicated, it proves you weren't being paranoid. Prince Harry tells me he experienced the same paranoia as his mother, Princess Diana. And remember, the institution was using Harry as a punching bag. And you see when he and Meghan were wrecking royals. So while Andrew was doing his thing, things were in the public forum. Instead of focusing on Andrew's situation with Virginia Giuffre, instead they were using Harry. So they wanted Harry to remain there, to use him as a diversion, but Harry was like, no, I'm not having that. Okay, and Meghan too. Meghan was like, I'm not having that. And then they're making it seem like everything that Harry and Meghan were experiencing were not what it is. But they were more than happy to use them to divert attention away from them. God needs to do something. All right, we probably already listened to this. Again, let's listen.
Other victims of hacking that I've spoken to have described the paranoia that it creates. Do you identify with that?
I think paranoia it's a very interesting word, because yes, then it could be paranoia, but then when you're vindicated, it proves that you weren't being paranoid. You know, same with my mother. You know, there was evidence to suggest that she was being hacked in the mid-90s, probably one of the first people to be hacked, and yet still today the press, the tabloid press, very much enjoy painting her as being paranoid. But she wasn't paranoid. She was absolutely right of what was happening to her, and she's not around today to find out the truth.
Does your mother motivate you in this legal fight?
Yeah, there's all sorts of things that motivate me.
While it's never been proven in court that Princess Diana was hacked, the past remains raw.
As I'm listening to this now again, I've listened to it 3 times in this video, I'm comparing what's going on with the tabloid, Harry, Princess Diana, and you see Charles pick a young woman he had no feeling for to use to just fill in the void of his role, kind of thing. All right, he needed air and all of that, so use Diana to create the air for him. And then out of that, Princess Diana create 2 boys. And I was thinking, what if it was a boy and a girl? Will the girl be able to fight as hard as Harry was doing? But the parallel with that, with the US, with what the US is going on right now, comes this November, Americans have to choose between democracy and what Donald Trump envisioned for the US. And now you have Harry and William, you know, the 2 brothers, they pretty much pick a side. One is with the tabloid and one is against the tabloid. As we're leading toward 2025, we're seeing the merge, that triangle that I've always saying, the 2 corners are merging together. And I don't know. I see things in images. It's hard, and I understand the images that I'm seeing, but for me to express it to you, I can't. I try my best to explaining, and I don't know if I'm even making sense saying all of this right now. But you could see the parallel between the UK and the US. The things that they're fighting for. And you saw how the US, with the media, were doing almost the same thing as the UK. Blindside the people, pretty much put a blindfold on Americans leading up to 2024 election, November. But Americans were saying, no, I see what I'm seeing. We're going to fight too. And then this is why we have, I mean, I didn't want to talk about politics, but I'm leading toward it. This is why Joe Biden, we must always respect him for what he's fighting for. And if you read some of the comments that I put on my community board, I've shared my thought. You have Israel Prime Minister was invited to talk and you know, what is it, in Washington and all of that. So the things that they were doing, this is the same group that's playing the papers, the tabloid, the key players, the Tories, the GOPs, same boat. They had a vision for the world. They were waiting for America. The thing that blindsided the UK was Harry and Meghan's union. And the thing that blindsided the US is that they didn't expect Joe Biden to give up his role for Kamala Harris to run. Why is that? Why I'm saying that? Because they were going to use what's happening in the Middle East against Joe Biden. Because we saw the anger that was happening. And then the media refused to talk about that. I do not have cable. At least some of the video clip that I'm seeing on YouTube from those mainstream media in the US, they're not talking about what's going on in the Middle East. Many YouTubers, like myself, I used to brought those things up. But what did YouTube do? YouTube put a disclaimer out, a warning at a certain time. I have the screenshot of it. Just look at the screen because I'll be putting it. By January, I think January 16, 2024, anybody who has things about the Middle East, well, they didn't say it like that. Just look at the screen. More about violence, children being killed, and all of that, they're gonna demonetize your channel. Okay? And I was talking about this stuff. I was enlightening people about some of the things that I was seeing on Twitter and explain to you guys these were manufactured things that was happening. So since I was telling what I was seeing, YouTube, and I really think it's because of some of the things that I was talking about, this thing came about. Okay? Because I was seeing the parallel between everything, how it was merging. Okay? So for some of you who's new, there's some videos that I make reference to are no longer there. When I do have another platform, I still have those videos. When I do have another platform, if I find another platform that I could put it on, then I'll re-upload them. But YouTube said, nope, you can talk about this. But thank God, I find ways of explaining different things to you to at least let you know what I was seeing. And you could see at the beginning of my videos when I share with you how much money I have a video every day. People are watching. My subscription is growing, but my revenue remains stuck. Okay? So they want me to stop talking. So there's this comment here, thumbs up, exactly the same thing being done to Meghan now. They wanted to be able to torture her in private for her to remain silent, and then of course unalive. The crime is always breaking to omerta. It's not undermining Princess Diana, it's a classic case of gaslighting. This tactic has been used for centuries against women, and the courts continue to play along with it. The US can never move toward Trump's autocracy because this will be the lay of the land, Project 25. Okay, so people are fighting. I didn't even know she mentioned this about the US here. Yeah, people are fighting back. And then Joe Biden, not being selfish, realized that the people are not, and I don't know, no matter who was running against Trump, there's no way I'll be voting for Trump or any Republican because their agenda. This is something that many Americans need to understand. Even if Trump doesn't win now, and Camilla, let's say for instance, win her 2 terms, their focus remained the same. We didn't get to this point out of nowhere. They've been chopping that tree, the US, into pieces little at a time for a very long time. It just now they went full blast thinking they got everything under control. When you look at 2020 election, how many people were on board with Trump's kind of thing to steal the election? It's mind-boggling. Who knows what they have now? But people are motivated. People went out to vote in full force. They could not steal the election. If people stayed home and did not vote, they would have easily stole the election. But there were too many people despite the pandemic. We need to do that in every election, to not give them a hint of them speaking for you. Just because you don't show up, they could have easily make the numbers less.
Who lost their jobs. But Republicans in Congress led... No. Don't boo, vote. We know that the investments that we need to make sure that every child in America, not just my kid or your kid, but every child in America has an opportunity to get a world-class education, that those investments have not yet been fully forthcoming. We know that. And that's why November is so important. The Republicans who run the House of Representatives right now and want to take over the Senate, don't boo, vote, work.
But there were too many people. So let's go to the next tweet. Okay, maybe after the next one, I'll do another video. Okay, Prince William reminds me so much of Trump in spirit, action, and omission. That's very funny because I was just talking about politics in the US. Okay, there's Chris Chip. Prince William declines to reveal tax bill, sharing fewer details than his father. Okay, Duchy of Cornwall accounts used to show the then Prince Charles pay £5.9 million in income tax. The current Prince of Wales is not sharing because he doesn't have to. So he wrote the article, I'm guessing, but this is a screenshot. That's me responding. Today is Wednesday. Literally, when this came out was on Wednesday. Okay, today is Wednesday. If you know, you know. Shape has finally arrived. Perhaps it's the beginning of the end. I don't know. I'm just saying. Because there was a tweet that he put a while back, I think, when Harry and Meghan left, something about Wednesday, and the squad made fun of it. Wednesday never come. Or that he will not talk about the Sussexes ever again or something like that. But you see a couple tweets. If you follow him, he probably mentioned stuff about the Sussexes. Okay, so that's the other response that I put. If the taxpayers don't care, hey, it is what it is. Is the quote, they don't ask, he doesn't tell. Get the taxpayers on his that's the word here. Perhaps something different might occur. Who knows? Yeah, the people are not fighting and they want to know, so he doesn't show. Okay, I had the same thought when I read it. The UK is in for something with this rage. Phil idiot. That's who he reminds me of. So there's that. Let me black this, but they keep on popping up. Where's the black thing? Okay. Okay, it starts from the top. Let's read what's there and then move on. Really, because he reminds me of Mr. Burns. That's from The Simpsons. It's the entitlement. Okay, I was thinking the same thing this morning when I read this. This gave F you, what are you going to do about it vibes. Alright, so that you won't get this from Prince Harry. But yet, the derangers are all into Harry and Meghan's business when Harry and Meghan are not funded by them. Okay, shipwreck still wrecking. Abolish the monarchy. Well, it's up to the taxpayers of the UK. I have no say on that. It's up to them. If they don't ask, he's like, I'm not gonna share it. So there's that. He wants privacy, but everybody else wants to get into Harry and Meghan's business. So what happened to this? Did it let me pause. Let me search for that. Okay, the tweet that I was gonna share with you, I guess the person removed it. It had to do with Simon case, but it's not there. Alright, let me pause this. I'm just gonna share this and then I'm gonna stop. This is where I'm at now. I have these to share with you, and that will be the next tweet on the next video. Alright, so let's finish this with that. Okay, for the unaware, when Cabinet Secretary Simon Case worked for Prince William, Prince Harry nicknamed him the Fly and described him as follows and spare. The Fly had spent much of his career adjacent to and indeed drawn to shit. I know a lot of the squad came after me when I said, you know, he was doing his job. They hire him. He's just too good with his job. And many of you said he could have refused to do it. All of this is yes, but it is what it is. Alright, I have never heard Simon Case speak before. I had no real opinion on him. After watching this very short video, I strongly dislike this oleaginous twerp. Alright, 1 minute and 33 seconds, and then I'll stop and then do the next recording, the next video.
He was always really thinking, particularly focusing about children and education, the sort of the damage, as he saw it, that was being done to society through those big decisions on the lockdowns. I don't think I understood at the time in a way that I do now.
And by the way,
quite how
he's talking about Boris Johnson, okay?
Personally difficult that was for him, as well as the style, because his clarity of thought, and I mean Boris Johnson's sort of strengths.
There it is.
Well, he's one of, great communicator. He's one of those people who can stand at a podium and make people that he's never met, doesn't have a lot of common, isn't a huge amount of common with, make them think that he's articulating their hopes and their dreams and their fears. He's a great communicator. That clarity, that ideology and that communication. When it came, I know this is off topic, sorry my lady, but on things like the vaccine rollout, which I know you'll come on to, his ability to sort of see with absolute clarity what needed to be done, how we communicated it, was in stark contrast to, I think, the difficulty that he found during the summer and the autumn. And to totally off topic, but on subjects like Ukraine, the way that he could see with absolute clarity on a values base what was the right thing to do to support Ukrainians against Putin and galvanise sort of global action, is a good example of, that he could do things with absolute clarity.
Meanwhile, the Tories and the UK, and you have Boris Johnson going privately without a third person to meet former KGBs and all that. This was a plan. They knew what they were gonna do. Their plan is breaking up now. They were waiting for America. 2020 was their plan to start whatever it is that they were gonna do. Okay, this is why Trump felt like he won the election, and they felt like they were gonna get the nomination again. Okay, and they removed themselves from European Union because they knew what was going to happen. They were gonna ravaging through Europe. So UK removed itself from it so they don't be part of the war, and then they remain in connection with Putin, passing information, pretending they're not. The UK is really good. Okay, it's really good at psychology. When he's talking about certain clarities and all of that, I understand him very well. I've always said the UK is very masterful in psychology. They know how to manipulate people to get what they want. So he's right. I mean, we may not like him, but what he's saying about Boris Johnson, he's absolutely right. Look at this. After the 2020 election in the US, the UK had an election, and they vote more Tories in. How did that happen after all the BS that I saw was happening? And then I said, in comparison to the UK, the US, you have minorities, African American, Hispanic, Native American, and some other small groups in the US fought to keep democracy alive. Okay? And I said, this was just, we were on a string. This election that's coming up now, this is where everything goes. Because minorities have put the democracy on a string. Now, it is up to the rest of the groups in the US to see what's going on. And I think they've seen it. They are seeing it. And we see what just happened. And this is why I continue to talk about it, despite the fact my revenue on this channel is not doing that great. Because these type of issues affect everyone. So they were waiting for America. And then you saw what happened. You have Washington Post, you have Wall Street Journal, and you have mainstream media blind people of reality. Okay, the things that I was talking at the beginning of this video. So the plan was set, and they were gonna use the Middle East against Joe Biden. Okay, to use it against him and what's happening with Ukraine. Okay, these were the two things they were gonna use against Joe Biden. And there's Kamala. She was not the decision makers of what President Biden done. Maybe she gave advice to President Biden and said, maybe you could go this way, but the final decision is the president. We cannot blame the Kamala Harris for what Joe Biden does. So we start on a fresh, brand new slate. So they cannot use those whatever happened in the Middle East, whatever happened during Biden's presidency on Kamala, because she was not the decision maker. What we could use against Kamala Harris is when there is vote in the Senate and the vote is tie and she goes in and break the tie. We could use that against her. And some of the things she voted for were for the people's sake. So we could use that against her because she was the tiebreaker. This kind of thing. Some people knows all of the things that she did as the vice president and all of that. So her action we could use against her, but her action was for the people. But the GOP, you see former Prime Minister Liz Truss coming to the convention and all of that, and there's another MP from the something for Waj come to the GOP convention and all of that. The UK was sending help, okay, to the GOP, the same group that I keep on telling you, to blind the people to vote against their best interests. But thank God, reality strike, and Joe Biden see reality. Even though they keep on calling him Sleepy Joe, this and that, he's too old, this and that. But he saw reality. He didn't think of himself power hungry. He's an old man who knows how much more time he has left in him on this earth. So he passed the torch to the next best person for him. So said, okay, they don't want me, and I'll take the blame for whatever happened in the Middle East. That was his decision. And also, let's not forget as well, okay, when Joe Biden wants to support Ukraine. Okay, Ukraine is very important for democracy because this is like the gate to prevent autocracy to spread back in Europe. If Ukraine falls, they're gonna go to the next country and the next country. Go on PYTE. There's a lot of things that I talk about this. Okay, and I'm not really political science. I'm just seeing what is being played out. And then when Joe Biden is giving funding to Ukraine, the Republican in the US said, if you're gonna fund Ukraine, you have to fund Israel as well. What Israel is doing? millions of Palestinians who cannot defend themselves. And they were going to use that against Joe Biden. And many times I've said the Palestinians are being, sacrificing their lives for us. And then, thank God Joe Biden gave up. People were really upset despite the blindfold the media put on American. People were really upset of what was going on in the Middle East. But it's the Republican who's injecting Joe Biden into what Israel is doing. If you understand what's going on politically, globally. But anyway, and I've always said we need to put, despite what's going on in the Middle East, we as Americans must put our mask on. The ship, the plane was going down. We have to put our mask on first before we could save the others. That was my viewpoint of that, despite the heartache that I was seeing. But the GOP keep on pulling Joe Biden into the Middle East. Because if he's funding Ukraine, he must fund Israel, who was doing the autocracy, the nonsense with the Palestinian. Now they invite him in to talk on Capitol Hill. Okay, now their plan is crashed. Because you already see what happened with South Africa, who called them to court for the nonsense that they did in the Middle East, and they find the Prime Minister Netanyahu along with his cabinet people. There's certain names I don't know that they mentioned. Okay, they charge them with war crimes. So now that the U.S. Democratic Party have a new leader leading to the next to the election. Now, what are they going to talk about? It was Kamala Harris's signature on the bill to fund Israel, and so they can't use that against her. So they're running scared now. Their talking point is not there. Alright, so that's that with this video. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. And this is a short video that I did. There's two parts to it, where Kamala Harris is talking about she knows people who have done similar things. I'm gonna do the next video. The next video is gonna start with, it's something I saw, but I didn't watch it yet. Let me just show you. It's regarding Meghan, the half-sister. I didn't listen to it yet, but the moment that I saw it, I quickly recorded separately, just in case when I'm recording now, it's not there. So it's still there. So we're gonna start here. There's no comment on it. Alright, so that's it. Oh, it's a retweet. Thank you for watching.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life.
You are all in this together. And if I may speak personally, we are all in this together. Because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better.